Hello, 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 hello. How are you? Here goes the chronicle of my life. Today is September 13th, 2020. So it happened that my birthday was August 11th, and I just turned 36 about a month ago. And what I want to talk about now is really where I stand in my life. You know, the problem with our world is that I think for every person, or for a lot of people, within their relative level, life is not fair necessarily. There is no perfection that we want to seek perfection. Now, of course, this is what I always personally say. You're like, where is this going? I'm sorry, there's a difference between our cultures, you know. We like to take things slow and open it up and at some point get to a conclusion. I know Americans like a straight shot. I don't know which one is the better one, but it's a journey. It's not just getting there only. That's not the whole idea, okay? So you need to bear with me and see my beautiful teeth. I look like a witch now. This shitty world. I find trucks one of the worst things ever made in the human life. I'll be very serious with you. I think it just makes people... It's just like, you know, buying certain toys for your children, and the way that it, you know, could alter their minds, incline them towards a different mindset, if you will. That's a whole different thing, but actually not entirely. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So I would always say, you know, if like, yes, maybe we can't change other people, but from within, for our own individual self. If 50% of people, 50% of the times do the right things, our world will be a much better place. Now that's an awesome theory. The only problem is that as we speak today, first of all, that is not how the world is. If that was a rule that everybody somehow you could get them to go along with, yes, that would be great. And the other piece of the puzzle is that we as humans, we don't have full control over the world. There are biological barriers, if that's what you guys say in English, right? Things in nature, natural matters that we have no control over, you know, diseases, if you will, you know. You're walking down the street, somehow fucking some tree falls into your head. Bang. Bye-bye, you're done. There's no second after that. It's just, there's no, right, you see what I'm saying? You won't even have the time to come and think about what just even happened to you. Now you're dead, you're gone. Game is over before you know it. You know. Now of course we love to live with this mentality that I think we should. Matter of fact, that's how it keeps us alive. Hope, that is just belief in positivity, and that's how it drives us towards... I'm going through a lot of stress right now for no reason, because this shit of America is all based on fucking incriminating other people's and property, and name of property you can, like, basically... It's pretty fucked up minds. Shittiest country on earth. For no reason you have to suffer. But basically, you know, let me put this here. Like, this man said it, well, I said it to him. He was saying how, some people who have done a lot of good things, matter of fact, people, they ended up being treated like shit. And he's so right. So, what I'm trying to say is that, the truth is, our world is not perfect. You can get punished for doing something good. And so, there's always this whole thing within us as conscious. And there's always the expectation and the mindsets of the society surrounding us, if you know what I mean. So, but what I want to talk about and connect these things that I said, I want to talk about the one of the most important things in our world. One of the only perhaps things that could be potentially free and very satisfying in our world, that is sexuality, having sex. It's not it doesn't have to necessarily cost much or anything, as long as you and the other person are breathing and have food to exist. In basic means, you can make the magic happen. I guess it does make sense, right? So, and I want to really grieve here. This is really what I want to do, because, I'm 36 years old, and as we speak today, this is why I mentioned my birthday. I never experienced such a level of relief prior to this, but it's funny. Ever since my 36th birthday, that is, happened, I started feeling this way. And I never felt like this, like that, or that strong. I have to be perfectly, yeah. So, I felt really, like, I wanted to cry. Like, I was like, I'm 36 years old. I can't believe it. Because in my head, I'm thinking about doing the right thing. That is, all these ideals that people expect from us, and especially on men, because we're the ones who are claimed, well, women are also, incriminated as sluts, but, actually, because of all these supposed progressions, if you will, feminism, a woman is actually is okay. She's actually, she has the right to do that, but a man is considered basically a predator, and further, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, I'm working for this company now that basically, we were reading this manual, which is like a compliance sort of thing, basically. And it says there that, it was saying an example about harassment, and it said, hey, like John and Judy and group of co-workers go out for a drink together. When they're at a restaurant, Judy becomes flirtatious with John, and he feels uncomfortable about her flirts, and basically he moves on to a different table. And then And he was saying that at this stage, basically, and the second part of the question was that the basically the situation was that, so at this stage, what happens also is that next morning, Judy sends a message over to John saying that, hey, would he be interested to go on a date on with her? And he was saying, the question was that is what should be done now, basically. And the correct answer was that John should report this to the HR as a harassment. And I chose a different option, which was one of the other potential answer was that because this happened off the work, that shouldn't be an issue. And the fact that he apparently didn't even state to her explicitly that he's not interested. Come on, we're adults. If you don't want somebody, you will go to them and fucking tell them. I'm sure it's hard on them, but it makes it much easier. Trust me, we're adults. We have to do that. I have problems doing that too, but that's another story. But what I'm trying to say is that you can't really expect somebody. What I'm saying is that, how is that considered harassment? If you really believe that's harassment, maybe you should say something. And the second thing is, this happened even off the work. But so answer was that regardless if what happened is on the job or off the job, that still should be. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this is how this society is so fucked up. Basically, your company becomes it's like somebody you have to report back to, and your subordinate. Or they're like my mom and dad, where I'm still a teenager or a child, and they have a custody over me and control over me, if you will, or some situation like that. We live in this country, and this is supposed to be a liberal. This sounds something that's potentially, I'm from Iran, in case you don't know. This is something that potentially, if you go to if you're working at some company, that usually they're state companies, if you will, or organization, would potentially will tell you. And if you're trying to hit on a girl or something, and here's one thing I want to say now. This is really important in case you missed, you're not paying attention. Now, in this example, like I said, this was actually female who was actually flirting with a guy, and supposedly she's the predator. But the reality is, in our world, who's the one which gender typically does this? Men. And who are the ones that they get reported, and then they have to get shamed for trying to fucking find a mate? That is their fault, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's men. And it creates more guilt for you, and the society is, if I'm not missing the point, you feel psychologically, the antagonizing factor, and you feel basically sanctioned for trying to do this. So you next time you even if you meet some girl that is not your coworker, has nothing to do with that. Come on, these are the fucking bullshit, man. Can you believe it? And I really want to say this. This is really more interesting. It gets interesting now for a dude or a duet who actually are born in this country. Maybe these things are actually not too bad. But here's the thing: for us, or for me as a foreigner who comes also from another country, where in that country we have this very supposed modest approach to relationship and elsting, even with our family and so forth. There's so many rules of conduct, if you will. You have to be very subtle. You have to be, relationships are in framework of marriage, or it used to be like that at least. Still kind of they're trying to showcase it like that, but there's a lot of people that go off the track, and seems like
I'm just not good at it. They're just good at it. That's another story. But what I want to say is that, and speaking of which, like, funny is that this friend of some Iranian guy that I know of, basically, he was showing me a picture of a dude and basically a family member of his, where the guy actually used to stay at her house. She had a house, and in Iran, if you have a house, that becomes, if a woman owns a house, that is her residence. If you're renting, is a whole different ball game, where literally your landlord can dictate to you that, number one, they wouldn't even rent out a house to a single woman or a single guy. In Iran, typically that's not the case, and if you do, you know what could potentially come along, so you're okay with that. Or I guess you're looking for drama, or maybe you're looking to get something yourself out of too. You're like, hey, because this could happen. That would require blackmailing somebody. You bring. I'm sorry, that's old for me. But anyway, so if you own a house as a girl or as a guy, then you're totally, there's no obligation. You can have people bring people over, being a girl, opposite sex, that is, through a party, anything. And unless you get really bad luck or somebody really want to fuck with you, usually that would be totally okay with that. People, I think, actually rather might respect you, say, hey man, this guy fucking worked hard, he got himself a house, maybe he can deserve to have this thing going on. Nonetheless, he has some stability, or probably he wouldn't do anything anyways. I'm sorry, Bubba, this is the thing, against all the social contracts. Funny is that, this dude is staying with her in what you call the white marriage, if you will. Like, they're actually having a relationship with each other for like 10 years or so. He said they were with each other. They were denying it, but he was actually staying with her. And I don't know what the arrangements between them, but, and I'm sitting there looking like, what the fuck? And every time I get to a relationship, bitches want everything from me, and they fucking put me down, and they make me feel like shit because maybe I'm not ideally accomplished like they want me to do, want the guy to be. I'm like, come on, obviously something is just not right about me. I'm not good at things, because there are men who are doing all kinds of things. They're literally living off of somebody. They're controlling. I don't know, what do you want a word? That's a whole different thing to talk about. But here's one thing. This is what I really want to say, is that, so obviously, you're as a guy, you get all these you get these responses from your surrounding. Like, what the hell? I was just trying to ask her out, and now this goes from us to employer. So what the fuck? Am I just a robot? And it's funny is that, speaking of which, I actually was one girl that, she's online. We were doing this online training basically, and I just wanted to try that. I said to her, hey, do you want to talk after work? And she's like, oh no, I'm not. She said, really, it just sounds like very, like, we're, it's like, we're like in a school, like we're like in kindergarten or something, She literally said, I don't even want to say it. It's just like so fucking childish, And then again, all this is happening in a society that is the most promiscuous society in the world, that is, so whack. There's no rules, I'm sorry, I'm fucking blown off. I don't know how I have to interact in this society to have not, that's not what I'm, to have a woman in my life. That's what I'm looking for. A human being with everything that comes with it. Yes, having sex with her, having her love, having her company, having her affection, being able to kiss her, being able to kiss her hand, being able to take her out, being able to hug her, being able to cherish her, being able to eat with her, being able to go to the movies with her, everything. Yes. And I don't know how is this done. But here's one thing I want to say. 36 years, I've been trying to, because of, yes, all the guilt that from the very childhood that is coming from my background as a conservative Iranian, they put on me. Especially I have to blame my mom. You know, dads are usually more open about these things, you know, but I didn't really have a dad in my life, so that was another thing. But yeah, that, and also the society always trying to portray this ideal man as a guy who is always, you know, his head is down and he's always, you know, doing his own thing, and, you know, he's a very, I don't know what's the word for it. I don't know how do you say it in English. He's basically, I'm sure the older people would identify with these concepts, you know, in America, perhaps. But yeah, you know, and, you know, at some point, maybe, but however, within that framework, then again, that guy, if I were to stay in Iran and basically, you know, stay with that community, in touch with that community, also maybe given all those negative aspects of it that I'm looking at it right now, there was also this chance that somehow I would meet through the family of somebody, a girl that I would marry, and the whole idea is that now, you know, I'm faithful to her and likewise to her, but, you know, and I'm programmed to not really, I don't know, I've kind of call it programming, I don't know what to say. That's another story to talk about. But what I'm trying to say is that just as I had a conversation yesterday with this girl, she literally, this is an Iranian girl, yeah. And she was surprised. She was like, she's not the first one. She was like, dude, are you even a human being? Are you actually you fucking feel attracted to girls? Like, are you sure about your sexual? She didn't say, are you attracted to, you're sure about your sexuality, but something in that line basically. And I said, trust me, yes. I know I think about sex probably like 6 hours out of the day at this point in my life. I've been doing this for the last few years. It's been kind of a very typical day of my life. You know, if I'm not doing anything, you know, chances are, you know, my mind is always fucking fast and having fantasies in my head, you know, visuals of sex with girls, some kind of a thing like that in that mind frame. Yeah, and I have to feel even shitty about that. No, because, you know, you have this Muslim radical society that obviously the people who are actually preaching us, they do things themselves and it's totally, they're okay with it because, you know, nobody gets to see them and they're good in a propaganda machine. So yeah, here I am, and the very girls who wear this statue of the Virgin Mary, who are basically the clean, holy female statue that is, you know, always a good person, here you are. And she's like, no, what are you talking? And I said, oh, this is right. She's like, what are you talking about? You expect a girl that you want to meet to be a virgin? You know, like this is what question she was saying, asking me. I said, yes, I do. And this is what she asked, you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, here we are, all these girls that always play this shitty things on me and us, basically saying, oh, men are dirty, mans are fucking, you know, dogs, you know, they just go and fucking everybody and everything, and they always have some chick, you know, they're fucking around with, and they can't, you know, they just can't help themselves being a fucking dog, you know, they have a wife or a mate or somebody who is so, you know, or like this chick I never forget, you know, she was saying, she said, yeah, you know, I live in a small town, and, you know, where our society is more like traditional to begin with. And said, oh yeah, so, you know, this man is married to my relative, and we live nearby, and fucking, you know, he has a wife, but every time he sees me, he fucking, you know, stops and give me a nice, you know, upside down, you know, checking me out and give me a leer look, you know. And she was saying that, you know, yeah, this is how men are, you know what I'm saying? But you know, this is like pretty ironic, you know, and I wish I could find some Iranian girl within those traditional societies. It's just that, you know, it's funny is that uh, maybe I can find somebody. Obviously, our mindsets are different. My mindset has been something like in the vicinity of what is, like, you know, I kept the value that I believe is the rightful value, you know, fidelity, love, you know, if you will, these top things, if you will. And I'm a very hybrid person, you know. Those are things that you don't cross. Those are boundaries that you shall not cross. It's okay to look at another girl. It's okay even to watch pornography, you know, but you never actually go out and God forbids that, you know, you do something that you know, it's not right. You know, basically, you know, you do something that perhaps, yeah, those people who want to fuck with your head will blame you and tell you're a dirt, you know. I can't believe it. I've read some stories online, especially when I was in Quora, about the woman fucking, you know, bashing a man for he's watching pornography. Well, you know, maybe if you give him something that he needs, there's a chance that he wouldn't watch that, or minimally he would have a desire or the strength to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Come on, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I'm sorry, if this is so bad, why is it that is available freely online? You know, maybe if you all think this is so bad, you know, you should also think that it's also bad for a woman to go and fool around while she's not married. You know, she says, okay, I'm a free man, I'm a free girl, I can do whatever I want, you know, I don't need that Jew, you know, all these. But yeah, here's I am. So all those people, you know, not only the ones that who fucked with my head, they actually got, whether through relationships, being marriage or something, they got what they wanted. And on top of that, not only that, they also became very promiscuous and sexually active and all that. And speaking of what I just said about that girl that potentially maybe I could bring her over here to live, this is where I was going with this, saying my values. I'm not going to say something, accuse anybody, and not everybody's the same. But a lot of these women from those values, they come here, and in a very short time frame, if you will, they actually change. They become a whole different person. You know, next thing you know, they hook up with a younger, with another man. You know, you're married with each other. They go and do it. You know, you know, and you're standing there. You're like, you know, in Farsi we say angush be dahan. You know, you're like, what the hell is just happening? This is a, you know, I don't نمیدونم چی بگم. مثلا it's just unbelievable. There's no words to explain this phenomenon. That it's just really pure. I just don't understand it. So, you know, my intent is not to point fingers. I'm just saying, I'm presenting the problem, if you will, that I hope it can be fixed. I don't want to start this whole thing of talking about feminism and say that, you know, because I know the second I said, I know my videos even don't get any views, but if they do, they're going to say, you're fucking, you know, you're another misogynist or whatever crap you could say, you know, all this bullshit, you know, you're bashing women, you're putting all the blame on women. But, you know, feminism, so that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't know, what do you want to blame it on? How do you want to do it? Fix the problem. All I know is that feminism didn't fix anything. It just added to it. It just said, men are doing it, so we should have the freedom to do it as well. It's not that we're gonna do something that men should basically, hopefully you can get them to be a better citizens. No, it's just that, okay, so we're just gonna become equal. So if they can fuck around and fool around, we get to do that as well. We should have this liberty as well. We don't, and it's not that we actually think what they're doing is wrong, you know, that's not what we're saying. Well, we're kind of gonna say that, but we're just gonna use that to get them to give us the liberty to being able to do it. And once we have that equality, we're gonna demand the ability to be able to do the same thing that they're doing. This is really our logic, you know, and so many other things, if you will, you know. So this is it. This was it. This was the, if you will. And the reality is that behind feminism were really corporate Hollywood, you know, all the very rich men and women, the elite, who say, you know what, actually, you know what, I love it. If you can't tell me that a woman have the liberty she can go sleep around, actually, I love it, man. Because you know what, I can't make money out of a man going to sleeping around. But I can make money off a woman who, once they have sex, they will probably come back to me asking for some pills, red pill, so they won't be impregnated. You know what I'm saying? So, perfect. You know, I'm totally with you. No, I vote for feminism. I vote for women. You know, so many other businesses, so many other ways that they make money, fashion, all these things, demanding fucking a woman, being able to, a man having to now buy for one woman who was his wife originally, gifts and shit like that. Now, over the course of his lifetime, he has to buy the same gifts so many times for so many other women, with a hope that, you know, one of them potentially will stick around with him for a while. So the women are getting richer. Yeah, part of the reason why they're also, so many women are getting fatter, you know, because at some time they just don't need to. They have so much of fucking wealth they have accumulated from stealing and it's theft. Yes, you know, to fucking manipulating men to buy them and give them all these kind of things, to, you know, to tell them that they love them. And it's really, part of it is that those men who are running the system, and part of it is us men who, because we can't get somebody, because actually the whole idea of the marriage, you're sanctioned. You know, if you get married, you're sanctioned. You know, now you're locked into a relationship where she can be abusive. And because, you know, you gotta understand, you know, the psychology of a man and woman are totally different. You see, a woman, when she gets angry, that's just not her nature to begin with, to fucking want to throw things or want to beat the shit out of, you know, to fucking get physical. And that's how she gonna get rid of her anger, if you will.